Well, another grassroots fight back against the radicalisation of young Australians. Tonight, what's being done in schools and by security experts to protect children from extremists. Here's Steve Marshall's report.
We will not stop fighting.
Radicalised and involved in a plot.
We will not put down our weapons.
Was radicalised to the point where he was plotting to behead.
A schoolboy surrounded by police.
From the playing field to the battlefield.
We've seen a surprisingly rapid rate of recruitment.
He had no idea his son had become radicalised.
The emerging struggle between Aussie school teachers.
Do we use our hands and feet to help others?
And the terror-wielding soldiers of the so-called Islamic State.
They claim is Islam and then do all these criminal acts.
For the hearts and minds of young Australians. Tonight, how one Aussie school is stopping students radicalising towards violent extremism.
When a child receives the true, pure Islamic teachings and knowledge, there'll be no room for him to be radicalised.
The teen quiz, identifying terror recruits.
We do see worrying results.
How the Australian Mosque, connected to a shocking lone wolf attack, is cracking down.
What's your message to people who want to hurt Australians?
Keep out of Australia. Don't come back.
And the Aussie filmmakers going head-to-head with extremists online.
They will hide the truth. Their life is sick.
We wanted to put out some videos that really kind of undercut those messages and expose those messages as lies.
The horrific murder of police employee Curtis Chang by teenage terrorist Farhad Jabbar threw the radicalisation of young Australians into sharp focus. It's understood this is where Farhad Jabbar was handed the loaded gun he used to kill Chang by another teenager who was also harbouring extremist views and was later arrested by police.
We haven't got a camera here. That's what I am going to do, put a camera here. They can sit behind there and sit and talk.
Neil Alcadomi is the chairman of the Parramatta Mosque. This is the first time he's allowed a TV camera inside the prayer hall since last year's shooting.
The boy was isolated, family isolation, student school isolation. Then he was brainwashed. That's the only solution for him, because he have no identity. He have no personal challenge. So that was the crime committed.
Mr. Al-Qadomi says it's crucial second-generation Muslims feel a sense of belonging so they don't reach out to radical groups. The Parramatta Mosque is seeking state funding to roll out programs to prevent radicalisation of alienated youths like Farhad Jabbar.
It's very important to get funding because we're going to employ social workers, we're going to employ psychologists, we're going to employ young people who can talk.
Do we treat others with violence? No.
And they don't get much younger than this when it comes to learning the rights and wrongs of Islam. This is Salama College, the Muslim school in southwest Sydney, where anti-radicalisation classes are taught as part of the school curriculum. A current affair was invited by Principal Wissam Saad.
If you provide the correct teachings of Islam to a child, you are already giving him all the immunity he needs against extremism, because Islam in itself does not promote extremism. And that's the key function of such programs.
The school has more than 800 students, like 15-year-old Nazik El-Haj, who are taught to denounce extremism.
See, they use the name Islam without knowing the true meaning of Islam, right? And, like, I've never declared war on anyone. I've never killed anybody, nor do I ever have the intention to kill someone. The people who do these things today, they've unfortunately gone down the wrong path of Islam.
Teenage footy rep Hussein Yagi also holds the Islam values dear.
Some people brainwash other people to guide them in the wrong way, but our religion guides us in the right way.
The school sign says it all, and Principal Saad is proud that none of his students have become disenchanted with Australia and been radicalised by violent extremists.
And I can proudly say that none of our children, none of them departed to these parts of the world to join some misconstrued fake cause.
It's difficult to de-radicalise somebody. It's much better to prevent them on the beginning of that path, or at least early on, to try and reverse that radicalisation.
Counter-terrorism expert Greg Barton praises Salama College and Parramatta Mosque efforts to prevent violent extremists radicalising young Australians.
We've seen a surprisingly rapid rate of recruitment, and the age of recruits dropping down into the teenage years very often, so school-going teenagers, and that's something we haven't experienced before in Australia. So suddenly it becomes a concern for the school community that kids in their midst, often from pretty regular homes, through friendships either in real life or online, are suddenly being persuaded to go off in a very different direction.
So if they Circle strongly agree with that statement, then that's a warning sign.
That's right, it is a warning sign.
For other schools, there's a quiz that helps identify students who might be gravitating towards violent extremism. It asks teens to either agree or disagree with statements like, "My real friends are online," "I don't see myself as even part Australian," or "I'm angry with what's happening in the world." The 35-minute test was designed by psychologist Dr. Rose Cantani.
We do see worrying results, and we do let the schools know about those worrying results, and we encourage the schools and we recommend some interventions for the schools to use.
What's that question?
It's about, my parents know how much time I spend on the internet.
Islamic State's online PR machine is as slick as it is sick, and it's often the first point of contact between extremists and Australians harbouring violent tendencies. But it's not all one-way traffic.
Their life is sick.
Australian-made videos are helping counter the Islamic State online rhetoric.
Their light is false.
Professor Anne Alley is a global authority on why young people are drawn towards violent extremism. She helped establish the PAVE group, People Against Violent Extremism, that produces the videos.
So we wanted to put out some videos that really kind of undercut those messages, undermined those messages, and expose those messages as lies.
When we walk away from violent extremism, we walk as one.
The New South Wales Government has just announced a record $8 million boost for programs for young people at risk of turning to terrorism.